Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today, I'm going to be showing you how to make a breakfast casserole sort of thing. Oh my gosh, I look naked. I'm wearing a dress. I swear. But yeah, basically it's just potatoes and bacon and cheese and all that good stuff, and you'll basically see soon. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So the things we're going to need for our recipe today are milk, olive oil, lemon, eggs, cheese, bacon, 1 onion, a couple potatoes, some butter, some paprika, some parsley, some rosemary, some salt, and some pepper. I've said none of those in order, but you get the gist. But anyways, let's just start the video. So we're gonna start by just peeling all of our potatoes, and I'm sure everybody knows how to peel a potato, so we're just gonna zoom on through. And then once we're all done peeling the potatoes, I put them inside of a cold water bowl just to keep it all fresh and so that the color stays the same and it doesn't oxidize from staying out. And then I move on to slicing them. And I slice them in about a 1/2 centimeter thickness, and then I'll just do that for all of the potatoes. And if you happen to slice them a little thicker, it just means it's going to take a little bit longer for it to cook when you put it in the oven later on. Now we're going to move on to my favorite thing, cheese, and we're just going to grate the cheese. And you know what I grate? About a 1.5 cups worth. I started off by grating a cup, but then later on I decided that I needed a little bit more, so then I grated another 1/2 cup, and that should be enough for the entire recipe. And then we'll just put that in a bowl and set it aside. Once we have all of that done, we're going to move on to our onions, and we're going to dice them. So I cut off the top, and then I peel it, and then I'm going to cut it down the center of the onion where that root is, and that root holds it in place. So then I'm going to make those slices as you see now across and lengthwise, and then I'll dice it, and that makes it into these perfect little dices. And then I'll do the same with the other half of the onion, and then once again I'll set that aside, and then we'll be able to move on. Now we're going to move on to our bacon, and for the bacon I'm going to slice it into about 2 centimeter wide slices. Your main concern here is to make sure that it's even. This is going to help for it to cook evenly and get a good color throughout. I'm going to go in with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You can use regular vegetable oil if you prefer, and then I'm just going to put my onions in there. I'm going to let those go for about a minute. And I have the heat on about medium-high, and this isn't even to accomplish any color or anything. This is just to start off the onions, and then I'll add the bacon to it, and I'm just gonna put that whole thing in. And I'll saute that up with a little bit of pepper. You really don't need salt because there's already salt in your bacon. So I'm just gonna go in with pepper. And for this part, you're gonna need to be very patient because it took me a while to cook that bacon through. But in the meantime, I'm gonna make my egg and milk mixture. So I just go in with 2 eggs, and then I'm going to go in with 1/2 cup of milk to start because I am using a smaller bowl. I didn't really want to make a mess, so I'll just whisk in 1/2 cup, and then once that's fully incorporated into the eggs, I'll go in with the next 1/2 cup, and then I'll just set that aside so that way we have something to do while that bacon is going. And then I'm going to attempt to keep my counter clean throughout this process, which is harder than it seems. But anyways, we're going to move back on to the bacon, and we're going to cook it until it's not at medium, but just before it hits that, because when we take it off the heat, the residual heat from cooking is going to keep cooking it even more. But the one benefit of it taking longer to cook because there is so much of bacon is that you're really going to bring out the sweetness in the onions, and your bacon is going to start to get lightly browned through the cooking process. Now we're gonna move on to the sauce. So I'm taking a small saucepan and I'm putting in 2 tablespoons of butter and waiting for that to melt. And then I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of flour, and then I'm gonna cook that for about a minute. That's gonna get rid of that raw flour taste. And then I'm gonna go in with half a cup of milk. And then I'm gonna whisk that in until it's well incorporated, and then I'll go in with the next half a cup. The reason that I don't put all the milk in at once, it's harder to get that smooth consistency that you're looking for. Now with that egg and milk mixture we made earlier, I'm going to drizzle it in very slowly to temper the eggs so that they don't cook in the sauce. And then once it's starting to just coat the back of a spoon, your sauce is done and you can set it aside. Now back to the potatoes. We're going to drain all the water that was keeping them fresh in the meantime while we were doing other stuff. And I'm going to go in with pepper, salt, paprika, rosemary, and parsley. And then you're just going to do it all to taste. So if you like a lot, put in a lot. If you like a little, put in a little. And then just give that a real good mix. Now I'm going to pour just a little bit of that sauce on the bottom. It's like barely even a quarter of a cup. And then just tilting the glass dish around, I'm just going to coat the bottom of the pan. And then I'm going to go in with my potatoes, and I want to do one even layer. Some of my potato slices were a little thinner than others, so to help remedy that, I put 2 pieces of potato on top of them, just so that way everything is pretty even and it's going to cook more thoroughly. And then after I finish putting on my potatoes, I'll go in with a third of our bacon and do a nice even layer of that. Just sprinkle it on using a spoon. It's still hot, so I didn't use my fingers. And then I'm going to go in with some cheese, and I use about a third of the cheese, and then I go back in with the sauce and use about, and then you just want to go ahead and repeat those layers 2 more times until you're out of all your ingredients. Once I got to that last layer, instead of doing bacon cheese sauce, I did bacon and then the sauce followed by the cheese, and I really want that top layer to have the most amount of cheese and mostly be covered, so I went in with a little extra cheese and really finished off that top layer. Then I just put it in my oven at 350. It took about an hour and a half. After an hour you can check it with a fork. If it goes through smoothly, then it's done, and if you find that the cheese is browning too much, just put some tin foil on top. After you take it out the oven, just let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that will help for you to cut it and make it a lot neater. But yeah, you have your finished product. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you guys want to see any other recipes, definitely leave it in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!